it's easy to understand by how you might get the impression that Faulkner was a racist. And the way Perkins came to me the other day and said, the one thing that bothers me more than anything else is this constant use of the word nigger. And I think we need to come to grips with that issue as a group. It's a word that is completely unacceptable to most of us here. It's a word that is completely unacceptable to me. And yet, it's a word that crops up often in Faulkner's fiction. And I think we need to deal with why it does. Why it does. Not because Faulkner was a racist. Remember that in establishing our narrative points of view, one of the goals that I had was first of all separating the author from the narrators. You will find that whenever Faulkner seems to be speaking for himself, that you will not find the word nigger used. That his characters, who are typical Southerners, over a period of 100 years or more, live and die with the word nigger on their lips. They don't think about it. They have gone beyond the point where it even means anything injurious to anybody. It certainly is an attempt at the white power structures making itself appear superior to the blacks. But they don't even think about it anymore. Any more than Shreve does, who comes from Western Canada, you'll remember, Alberta, and simply by virtue of being in the same dorm room at Harvard with Quentin Compson for a few months, he spices his language with that horrendous word very freely, and he has stopped thinking about it. I think there's a kind of an underground attempt here at showing exactly how destructive and dehumanizing a society can become without ever reaching an awareness of how dehumanizing it has become. So when you see this word nigger, which probably touches a trigger for most of you as it does for me, you again have to get in touch with who is saying it. And it's not Faulkner. It's not Faulkner. The only way you can evaluate Faulkner's stand on race is to read virtually all of his fiction. And when you do that, you understand that it's often the blacks who provide the structure and the virtue and the dedication and the work that holds a society together at all. And the whites often come up pretty lacking in Faulkner. So I would ask you not to respond to that word in a knee-jerk way, and to remember once again that it's also a word that comes up repeatedly in Huckleberry Finn. It's a word for which the book Huckleberry Finn, one of the great American classics, has been censored by any number of school districts across the country ever since I can remember. Huckleberry himself is the narrator of that novel. He's a first-person narrator, a young boy about the age of Thomas Sutton when he started his journey down to Tidewater. And Huck finds himself going down the Mississippi River with an escaped slave who, for all Huck knows, is a nigger. And Huck thinks that what Jim is doing is terribly wrong because that's all Huck has been taught. And the proper thing for Jim to do, Huck is convinced, is to give himself up. As they continue to go down the river, though, Huck discovers that Jim is a human being. And Huck discovers that Jim has genuine human concerns, and he has a wife that he misses. Just grieves greatly at not being able to see her again. And at some point along the journey, Huck decides that even though it is the wrong thing, the immoral thing, the unchristian thing to do, he says, all right then, I'm going to go to hell. I'm going to help Jim escape. And it's at this point that we begin to see Huck as a truly moral person. And it's at this point where Huck has really demonstrated his own moral growth, even though he's going against everything that has been traditionally defined as morality. And even though he continues to call Jim a nigger, he doesn't treat Jim as a quote-unquote nigger, though. He treats Jim as a human being. And after all, I think that's really the greatest standard for behavior in what people do. So do bear that in mind as you read through Faulkner, because you're going to run into that offensive so often that it almost becomes sickening. But it is the portrayal of a society that made it sickening. It really isn't Faulkner. The only way he can accurately portray that dehumanization is to repeat it.